So we are Plus Two Comedy. We are nerd-specific stand-up comedians. That's Laura Prince. That's Will Liam.
Hello.
I'm Noah Houlihan. We basically we wanted to do a little bit of an experiment here. We do the comedy show over at MAGFest, and after MAGFest, a lot of people came up to us and was like, "Yo, how do we get on the show?" And our response was, "You can't. We're comedians, and you're not." But we wanted to open it up a bit, so we did a comedy workshop earlier today, and then we invited those people that we helped write comedy to come here and try comedy for the first time. And Tim is the only one who was brave enough to show up. Yeah!
Don't want to call anybody out, but if anybody else was at this class earlier,
and might be deciding against
just come up and do your why a pen is weird, and then just drop them. Don't drop the mic; it damages them. But drop it in the other.
But this is open mic comedy, which means anyone can come up and do it. We can open it up to music if anybody brought a ukulele that I don't see. But
Harmonica?
basically, we're going to be here for an hour, and there will be comedy. If no one else signs up, we will just fill it up. Hey!
No.
Yes, guilt.
Sir, you look like you could play a kazoo. Do you have a kazoo? No. You really should.
You should have a kazoo.
No.
You should always have a kazoo
I just
on you,
gave
Will.
out my last kazoo.
Oh, God.
Every time
Pretty
somebody's got a
disappointed.
sweet mustache, I'm like, you need a kazoo, my friend. All right.
That's pretty solid. That's pretty solid. So yes, we're going to get the show started in a few minutes. Tomorrow we have just a straight up comedy show that no one else is allowed to perform on. It's just us.
Don't lose your chance now.
Yeah. Not even
Not
Tim.
even Tim.
Tim's not allowed to perform at that
I'll be
one.
honest. Depends how he does tonight.
If he absolutely kills it,
We'll kill him.
we'll end his life.
Then we become threatened.
Yes. So we will be doing, in this room tomorrow, we'll be doing the Plus Two Comedy Showcase, which will be just Plus Two Comedy doing our best material, which means tonight will not be the best material. Yeah, phoning it in. What's going on? Do you guys like video games? Cool.
Yeah. What's the deal with water levels?
Yeah, they're
they all
tough.
suck.
Yeah, why include them?
I don't like to drown.
But somehow Blitzball, good.
Yeah.
I don't know
Do they
why.
breathe water?
They don't. They never. There's no threat of drowning.
No,
which I think-
there is briefly Una gets kidnapped, and they're like, we gotta save her, and I was like, why?
Yeah, everyone else is fine
This has
underwater.
never come up until now.
That is a good point. So we should probably start the show.
Okay, I don't know why you're pointedly looking at me right now.
I don't think you should lurk behind the comedians, is what I'm saying.
I was
why?
gonna do like a Benson interruption.
No, this is our first time doing comedy. Get off here. Get out of here. Get out of here. So the mic's super hot. Just be aware of that. And wrapped around this all. Guys, are you ready for some comedy? Yeah, that's what I want to hear. You guys ready for some comedy? Yeah. The rules of comedy say you have to ask twice. So we are from New Jersey. I'm very lucky to have made it here. My GPS is broken. All it knows how to do is search for satellites. It just does that endlessly. And I don't want to use my phone, so I have one of those like crappy TomToms. And if it searches for satellites too long, it freaks out. It'll just be like, search. Are we inside? No, we're not inside, GPS. It's okay. Just find the satellites and we'll be fine. Okay, search. Are we still in Jersey? It's like, yeah, we haven't left yet. We're still in the driveway, pal. Come on, you can do that. Just find the satellites. Okay. What's the date? What's the date? That's weird, because that means my GPS basically went, did we time travel? Because I can't find anything. I don't know what's going on, and I didn't hear the Ocarina of Time on the radio, and you kept it under 88 the whole time, and your car's not that much bigger on the inside than the outside. That joke deserves more. Know how hard that joke is? That is a Legend of Zelda joke followed by a Back to the Future joke, followed by a Doctor Who joke, which is really hard to do in the same joke. And now I explained it so you don't have to ask Skynet later. Terminator! Holy crap, the kid's on fire. It's amazing. My favorite game of all time is BioShock Infinite. You guys BioShock fans? Good. It's good that you respond, because if you don't, I'm not going to do the jokes. But BioShock Infinite was my favorite game when it came out. And when it came out, I was like, all right, I don't want to read any reviews. I want to go in blind. And I went in, and it turns out that game is crazy racist. Anyone else notice that? Yeah. It's horribly racist. And I did what any adult would do. I went and complained on the internet. I was like, hey, what's the deal with this? This is super racist. And the response I got back was, it takes place in the early 1900s. It's being historically accurate. Yeah, it also takes place in a magical flying city. I think we lost historically accurate real early. It'd be like if I went to a Renaissance fair and they immediately blew the plague in your face. It's like, oh, we're just being historically accurate. No, you're not. You're serving iced tea and Doctor Who is right there. It's not historically accurate at all. I have a lot of nerd heroes, and I think it's a good time to be a nerd because The Big Bang Theory is being canceled. Thank God, it's over, guys. It's over. I can wear a Green Lantern shirt and not get called Sheldon. Oh, yes. Just dork and nerd like it used to be. Yes. Just if you call me Sheldon, I should be able to punch you. That's just the way I feel. Not allowed. I should gain the ability to punch you. Because I've never thrown a punch, but I'm pretty sure it's not supposed to look like this. I hate it. I hate it so much. It's just nerd blackface, and it's finally going away. It makes me so happy. Have you ever had someone question your own nerd ability? Yes. Oh, it's the worst. It's the worst feeling. I had someone come up to me. It's like, hey, you a fan of the new Star Trek movie? And I'm like, no, sorry, I'm not a Trekkie. It's just not my thing. It's like, not a Trekkie. I thought you were a nerd. I thought you were a nerd is the worst thing you can say to someone because it makes me defend my terrible life choices. It's like, oh, thought I was a nerd? Really? Because I own every Star Wars action figure, one in the box and one to play with, and I didn't lose my virginity till I was 23. Ha! Oh. I was at an FYE, the one that's left, recently. I was with my niece, and my niece came up to me, and she was like, Noah, will you buy this for me? I love him. I love him! You buy this for me? And it was Sonic the Hedgehog. And I was like, oh, really? You love him? She was like, yes. I love the Smurfs. I'm sorry, you don't get to have this. I'm sorry, you don't. That's not for you. You know what? I'm going to buy it for me. I'm going to buy it for me. Now I'm going to get two so I can keep one in the box. Let me get two. That's how I like to live. And it's a good time to be a nerd, but you know who really doesn't like nerds? God. Have you noticed this? God is not a fan. Because I've noticed anytime one of my nerd heroes dies, he kicks him out of heaven and sends him back to earth. Like, what's the deal with that? Like, in my mind, all of our heroes are just up there driving God crazy. Like, he's up there going, like, Superman, put that down. Please, that's the rock that's so big that even I can't move it. It was to prove a point. Please, just put it down. Batman, stop lurking. You're in heaven. There's no shadows here. You're with your parents. You should be happy. Goku, did you leave again? You can't just come and go as you please. You know what? All of you back to Earth. That's it. I'm done with all of you. All of you go. Eris, you stay. Eris, you stay here. You're not allowed to go. But the rest of you, back to Earth. I'm done with you. And a defeated God sits down and puts his hand in his head. Just completely defeated. And a kind old man will put a hand on his shoulder and say, "It's okay, God. But you know, with great power comes great responsibility." It's like, "I know, Uncle Ben. That's why I'll never send you back." Ben's like, "Yeah, you said that to Bucky, though." I don't know why I decided to go comic book heavy at the video game convention, but that's what I decided to do. I don't know why. Did you guys even see the new Avengers movie? No? All right, I'll tell you what. I'm gonna do a series of jokes, and if you've seen the new Avengers movie, they'll be funny. And if you haven't seen it, they just won't make sense. Okay, here we go. We're going to knock out a few of these. Here we go. Rapid fire. Thanos, best at Ring Around the Rosie, by far. He's amazing at it. He's so good at it that they decide that the only person that can defeat him is Kratos from the new God of War. No? All right, you guys didn't follow. That's fine. It turns out that in that movie, if you want to save the universe, there's 3 things you have to do. Always be prepared. Work as a team. And don't love Gamora. See, that's nothing for you, but it makes sense to them. It works great. It's a great system. I feel amazing about that. If I could, I'd give myself a high 5. But then I'd explode. That's a Time Cop reference. That's 5. That's fucking amazing. I couldn't help but curse. I apologize. Guys, we're going to do a comedy show. Are you guys ready for more comedy? Your next comedian came to my comedy workshop and has a last name I can't pronounce. So get excited. Ladies and gentlemen, give it up for Tim. Oh, I'm working. I'm giving up. Kinderbra? Canesbauer. Oh, okay, that makes sense. Give it up for Tim Canesbauer.
So this is a requirement. How's everyone doing tonight?
Yeah!
See? No, should I do it again? I can't hear you. How's everyone doing tonight? There you go. See, that's a requirement. I'm really not a fan of the way the world's going today. You know, it's scary. It really is scary out there. The one shining beacon of hope, though, is the Space Force. Everyone's stoked for the Space Force. All my veteran buddies, they all want to jump to different branches. They want to move to the Space Force. And I feel like that enthusiasm's going to last for a really long time, right up until the first day they get their standard issue equipment and they realize that the uniforms consist of red shirts. Which I think is pretty fitting because I feel like we, as a country, are a nation full of tribbles. We just eat and get fatter and fatter and just keep reproducing. Yeah, whatever. But and that's just the way the current state of affairs is in our nation. A lot of people not liking each other, but that really upsets me because we live in a world where Dumbledore can be the headmaster of the most prestigious wizarding school in the world, and he can't buy a damn wedding cake.
Oh,
shit. So they said I can go R, so drop the damn. But I'm edgy. I said damn. I realize I'm getting older because I actually got excited to find out my credit score the other day. It wasn't always as good as it is now. I was thousands and thousands of dollars in credit card debt. It really sucks, but it really is a trap because they got those credit card reward points. The great things you can get with them if you can rack up enough reward points. Guess what? I did. But I paid it off, so what that means is I realized I have enough credit card reward points to fly round trip to Key West, but once I get there, I will starve. But I used my good credit score to get a new car, and he hands me over a key. He goes, "Here's your key." I'm like, "This is not a key. This is a fob." oh, it's push button start. I'm like, I just sold a 1999 Nissan Sentra. Can you tell me what a push button start is? And I realized that we're now in a time where technology is moving and progressing so fast that a lot of phrases that we use commonly, younger generations just don't understand what they mean. Like rolling down the windows. Don't understand that. And I realized that we need to make sure that these truths and facts are not forgotten. So I think we start with Microsoft Office and we bring back Clippy. Clippy the office assistant, but now he's Clippy the Microsoft Office museum curator. He hobbles across the screen with a walker made from twisted up dead relatives of his. And he goes, "You see that up there, kids? That is a save icon. It looks like a floppy disk." "Clippy, what's a floppy disk?" "I'm glad you asked. A floppy disk is what your dad used to store one low-res image of tits on 20 years ago." That's the wrong side. That's from previous weeks ago. I ran out of index cards. I feel like the New Testament of the Bible is pretty much patch notes for the Old Testament. I feel like God was sitting up there and he's like, "We got some bugs we need to work out. I'm putting you guys in charge of it." "Okay, first order of business, we fixed a bug. Pork no longer sends you to hell. We've added in a new subclass. It's called the Messiah subclass. He can learn 2 unique spells, walk on water and lay on hands. And if he prestiges, he can self-resurrect. We also threw in a bunch of Easter eggs for you to find. We have no idea what the point is, but there's a rabbit. You'll figure it out later." Yeah. So, whatchamacallit? I'll just, what's time like?
You're fine.
Okay. Okay, so VR has become more accessible to the masses, virtual reality, as I'm sure all of you know. So I got a Google Daydream, and there's all these apps on it and everything, and you think, it's gonna be great. There's the whole world of VR out there, but we all know what it's really for. It's for porn. It's for porn. Pornhub has a whole section on VR. You got the Google Daydream, throw it on, throw your smartphone in it. Now, the problem with that is VR sickness. For those of you who don't know what VR sickness is, that's where your brain has a disconnect with what it's seeing and reacts as if it's been poisoned. Makes your body react as if it's been poisoned. Now, I got VR sickness at the worst possible time while watching interracial VR porn. Because my brain goes, like, what's going on here? This isn't right. I start getting sick. I'm like, oh my God, did VR make me a racist? And it goes, no. There's just no way you are that well endowed. So I was like, oh, thank God. I thought I was going to have to build a border wall between me and my dick. The last thing I'll leave you on is, so I was deployed to Kuwait, and I was playing volleyball with some people there, and my roommates, they knew that I was Wiccan. It's my religion I identify as, and so we're losing pretty badly, and he draws a pentacle in the sand, and he goes, "Kainsbauer, hop in, I made you a circle of power." So I'm laughing, he's laughing, I hop in, we're playing, and a sergeant walks up and he goes, "Hey, that offends me. My sister dabbles in magic." Like, well, who's the one who's supposed to be offended here? You're offended because your sister dabbles in magic. That's like if an atheist was offended at a Jesus joke because they have a in-law that occasionally puts out crackers and wine for guests. Thank you. I was Tim Kainsbauer.
Let's hear it for Tim. I'm really short. I'm going to take a moment. Does anybody want to sign up in this moment between, since I kind of hoarded the sign-up sheet? Cool. All right. What Tim was talking about reminded me that Sephora, the makeup company, just got into a lot of trouble because they were going to start selling witch kits, which, yeah, it was going to be some sage, a bunch of cheap, crappy perfume, and then a rose quartz crystal. Could you imagine if they tried that for literally any other religion? Like, here's some cheap perfume that smells like, frankincense and myrrh. And here's like a fake gold necklace. Now you're a Christian. Good job. Now you're just like Jesus. No. So it's a MAGFest. So who's been drinking? I went to a bachelorette party a couple weeks ago, and we had black box wine. But I really think they need to commit harder to that branding and include a recording device in every box so you can find out where your night went wrong. Just the next morning, your family's listening to the recording of like, Mom, I'm so sorry. I love you. I lost my notes. How's everybody doing? I'm sad. I realize that being a nerd means you must like being sad. Because we're the only group of people that will be like, oh, it's heartbreaking. I'm going to watch it again. Like, you see the episode where your OTP breaks up or like your favorite character dies and you're just going to keep watching it. Sports fans don't keep watching games their team lost. Like, we are the only group of people for whom that's okay. And I think it's because, like, our cartoons have gotten more serious and more sad. Who's watched anything recently on Cartoon Network? Oh my God, like, every cartoon I watched was like, oh my God, that's so depressing. And, like, when I was little, it was stuff like Powerpuff Girls and DuckTales and Ninja Turtles, and all those are back. But I watched, like, Adventure Time, which was this coming-of-age story about a brave adventurer who, like, loses his hand, and there's really sad, terrible things in it. Or, like, Over the Garden Wall, which is, like, about two cute little gnomes in the woods. Oh, God, no, it's not. And, like, Steven Universe, which is, like, gay space rocks, and also abusive relationships. And I think that's just, like, why we're so anxious as a generation, because everyone's like, oh, watch cartoons for comfort, and then you watch cartoons, then you're just crying in your closet. But we're, like, so obsessed with lore. Has anyone here played Far Cry 5? Okay, so let me tell you. You can have animal companions in Far Cry 5. And one of them is Cheeseburger the bear. Cheeseburger the bear alone has more backstory to him than the entire first Mario game. It would be like if there was an entire novel released about the Waddle Doo from Kirby. Like, that's how relevant this character is. And, like, I've been trying to get into newer games because I'm one of those people who will buy an NES Classic and then just play that for, like, years straight and never play a new game. And The Last of Us 2 is coming out. And people were, like, really mad about the trailer. Because, at one point, the female protagonist stands in a tastefully decorated tent and kisses a girl. And, like, I kind of want to be like, did you watch the rest of that trailer? Because she kills, like, a lot of people. But everyone's caught up in, like, oh, she kissed a girl in a tent. Oh my God, stone her, stone the witch. Who's on Twitter? Just don't. It's kind of like screaming into the void, and when the void screams back, it is more terrible and racist than you could possibly imagine. Like, I wrote about how I didn't go to my senior prom once on Twitter and went to bed. Wake up the next morning, I have 33 replies. 29 of them are people telling me about how their senior prom went, and 4 of them are racial slurs directed at a race to which I do not belong. And that's troubling. And I've been, like, really freaked out because, like, the gaming trends right now are killing me. I've been really troubled by these games that break the fourth wall on you. Like, who here has played, like, Doki Doki Literature Club or Undertale? These games are my worst nightmare, because, like, spoilers, those games turn on you. And, like, you can't just turn them off. And they mess with you, and it's literally been my worst nightmare since I was a kid. But like, what if all the games turned on you? Like, I'm waiting for the day I boot up Pokemon and Pikachu tells me I'm like complicit in animal slavery. And like, that would kill me if I'm like, Pikachu, I choose you. And he's just like crying and he's like, I don't want to fight, that's my friend. Or like, you know, Mario gets left by Peach for the 37th time and is like, help me make a Tinder account. And then like, I just open Tinder one day and it's like, it's a me, swipe right. I can't live with this. And who here knows what a hacked game is? Why would we do this to ourselves? I don't know why anyone could play could ever listen to or read a creepypasta and then be like, I'm totally gonna buy this game somebody definitely messed with. I don't understand why you would think that's a great idea, because I'm just afraid, like, I wanna play, you know, Pokemon Pink and have Clefairy as a starter, but at what cost? Like, I'm just waiting for, like, you know, Pikachu used Surf. Pikachu drowned. Or like, you know, Jigglypuff used Sing. Look at this photograph. Like, I just can't live like this. And we're doing good business right now because like nostalgia's big business. Like the, you know, NES and Super NES classics, all the cartoons that are being revived. But there's starting to be this phrase I can't stand of something ruining your childhood. And it's when a thing that is meant for young children is somehow about you. And I just want to be like, no, guys, an all-female Ghostbusters reboot didn't ruin your childhood, and it didn't stand you up for your senior prom. I know this because if it had stood you up for your senior prom, I would have gotten 30 mentions in my Twitter account about it one night. Are you guys ready for your next comic? Woo! One person shook his head, and it's the person who's coming up next. Please welcome Jeff Stormer. Yay!
What's up, nerds? See, I've realized I've been saying that a lot in my like day-to-day life, and like it gets a good response here. Doesn't get as good a response in my like stuck-up office job where people are either like, Jeff, are you being self-deprecating again? Do we need to have another talk? Or worse, I say it to somebody that's new at the job, and then we have the experience of like, are you bullying me? Is this gonna be a thing? And I have to be like, no, okay, let me back up. Hi, I'm Jeff. You can probably tell by looking at me that I have a podcast, and I have opinions about craft beer, and generally, things are going great for me. We're all good. Please, I promise we're okay. So, happy to be at MAGLabs. I really like games. I like tabletop. The weird thing about tabletop is I can say those words, right? I can say, I love tabletop games. I can say that 10 times, get 12 responses, and 20 of them are not the thing that I'm saying I like. It's like, yeah, I love tabletop. Oh, you love tabletop? Do you want to play Axis and Allies for 14 hours? I really don't. I got work in the morning. All right, fine. Lay out the map. We'll be here for 4 hours. Oh, you like tabletop? Do you want to play this handwritten notebook game I have about weird sex aliens? Okay, well, I mean, not really, but all right, fine. I'll look at my stats. Wow, this is a lot of offensive stuff that you're putting in front of me. Okay, I guess we'll play this now. It's like, oh, you like tabletop? Great, because I bought this cake tray that I can like put on my table, and it's got the same thing. It's kind of used that you give the winners of the Great British Baking Show, and I'm like, no, that's not the kind of tabletop. Actually, that kind of does sound great. I'm really interested in this, because like that's gonna put a real great highlight on the cake. Oh, that's gonna be good. That's gonna be really good. Also, I love cake, and it sounds like you make the. Can we talk about cake? So, I made a noise, and I want to talk about it because it's my favorite noise, and it's this weird and beautiful specific noise, and that specific noise is this. Okay. That noise is the noise of someone who knows a lot about a very specific topic that has just realized that you have asked a question that is going to require a minimum of 12 minutes of explanation. That's the noise of like, hey, Jeff, is Superman a complicated character? He seems boring to me. Okay, what? Okay, all right, I can get into this, but clear your schedule. We're gonna be here a while. Jeff, why do people hate Roman Reigns? Well, it's... Oh my God, okay, what are we starting WrestleMania? Oh my God, okay. Let me tell you about the Shield. Jeff, why are you sad all the time? Well, First off, that hurts because we just started working together and you don't know me that well. So, I had a nightmare situation happen to me recently that I'm going to share with all of you. I mentioned I have a podcast. I have a podcast about tabletop role-playing games. And generally, I can talk about it, and it's fine. But I was in an icebreaker meeting at work, and my boss was going around. He's like, hey, does anybody have any cool facts? Does anybody do any podcasting? Because I really like podcasts. And somebody, not me, did the meanest thing that any human being has ever done to any other human being and said, Jeff does a podcast. Jeff, you want to talk about your podcast? So here I am. A group of probably 30 to 40 people are just looking at me. And then, really, I make the only noise that I can make, which is, well, because now I have to not only explain what a podcast is, I not only have to explain what a tabletop role-playing game is, I have to try to explain all of this, and I have to look people in the eye and see that distinct look of like, cool, when are you going to be finished with this story? Because I do not want to hear any of this. Oh, cool, yeah, no, that sounds great. You're still talking, aren't you? And I'm like, yeah, because we're in now. There's no getting out of this for any of us. Settle in. That's about all I've got, honestly. All right, thank you, everybody.
Awkwardly for more. Does anybody else want to sign up? No? All right, that's fine. Do you guys have any strong feelings about like the PC console conflict? You guys PC people, you don't care? I prefer PC, I like gaming, but I hate myself, so I have an Xbox. And it's weird because all my friends play on PC, and I know it's better. And I want to talk to, like, I play Overwatch. I want to talk to them about stuff. And they're like, all right, we can talk Overwatch. What's the meta in Overwatch? Is it still, it was the tanks, and then it was the jump, and now it's grab drag, and what's the meta? I was like, oh, the meta on Xbox. Well, you wait 10 minutes for the last guy in your team to be a healer, and then he picks Hanzo, and then he calls you a racial slur for not being a healer. So I think, is that what you mean by meta? Is that? And just... There's a weird pile of notes. My notes look like a weird 12-year-old wrote them, so you'd think I could read it if I wrote it, but that's not the case. And I couldn't get into Wii because I felt betrayed by the Wii. You guys remember when the first Wii came out, and if you played it for too long, it was like, hey, why don't you go outside? I've been playing for a while. It's like, don't you do this to me, video games. And then they got more subtle with it. They're like, just go outside, just go. Look, here's Pokemon Go, here's the Switch, get out of your house, just go. And then I got worried that like all of the consoles would start like doing that to their fan base. Like PlayStation just be like, hey buddy, you've been playing a lot of Last of Us? You thinking about hurting yourself? It's a real sad game. Or like Xbox, if you stop moving for more than 30 seconds, like, hey, you jacking off to Cortana? Like, yeah, I own an Xbox, of course I am. But it's tough. I have a tough time getting into games because like I like the story. I play for a story. I'm not a completionist, and that's what just the focus on a lot of games. Like I couldn't get into the Arkham games because that's all it is. It's just a bunch of extra stuff. And I realized that like that's why I prefer Marvel over DC in the first place. Is because like Marvel, Tony Stark's like doing science and then the villains come in and mess with him. In DC, Batman's just going out and just accosting handicapped people in Halloween costumes for fun. And the Arkham just represents that so well. Like it gets to the point where Jim Gordon's got to be like, Batman, you missed the Joker's parole hearing. He's free now. Where were you? I was trying to get all the Riddler trophies. What? I have 95 of 97. I need them all for 100%. Of what? Of justice! That's just what it is to me. Are you guys fans of the new Star Wars stuff at all? One person, that's fine. I dig on it. I like it because I like they're kind of making up for. You ever notice how the original Star Wars was a little racist? Like the prequels were the worst. Like there was a race of people that were really good at building robots, and they sounded like this, like, oh, the Jedi are breaking through. Like, oh, George Lucas, no, you can't do that. But the original movies were more subtle, but it was still there. Like, have you ever listened to Obi-Wan, like the context of what he's talking about? When he's just like, his tracks are side by side. Sneaky sand people travel single file to hide their numbers. Like, ooh, Obi-Wan. His blasts are too accurate for sand people. It's 11 a.m., they'd be drunk already. Malt liquor bottles scattered all over the sand. Like, whoa! I think they prefer to be called Tusken Raiders. Didn't know you were a sandy lover. Whoa! Not okay. Did you guys see Rogue One? It literally the end of Rogue One is a bunch of minorities and a woman trying to get out from a glass ceiling. That's the end of it. Like there's a little more representation, and it's bad. It's bad in video games too. And I've had this argument with people because they're like, there's women in video games. I'm like, who? And they're like, Samus. I'm like, yeah, what's she do now? Well, she's in Smash. She's naked, but it's fine. All her armor and clothes came off, but it's fine. Like, well, there's a female Link now. I was like, Link doesn't talk. That's not progress. Well, there's Cortana. I'm like, have you seen Halo? Every game her boobs get bigger. And I realized that that's okay because she's a hologram, so you can just make that whatever. So I want the cutscene where she comes out, she's like, Master Chief! Who did that? Who messed with my program? Was it you, Steve? A dick? Really? I know this is you. And it makes it tough. It makes it tough to talk to people about video games if you want to find a partner into that kind of thing. And then I on my own, like, I'll do this thing where I go too nerdy too fast sometimes. So like I'll be talking to a woman and she'll be like, Butterfree's my favorite Pokemon. I'm like, I know he's my favorite too, because he can learn flying moves, bug moves, and psychic moves. That makes him one of the best Pokemon. Oh, I meant I like his little mitten hands and his sneaker feet. Oh, yeah, it's good. I'll let myself out. It's fine. I don't really care. And the other problem is my house is just a museum of unopened toys and open toys because they're mine. I paid for them and I'll play with them if I want to. And there's this thing, I have like this weird panic nightmare where like I'll bring a woman over and we'll go to my room and like, oh crap, I forgot. And I'm just like hiding nerdy things under less nerdy things where I'm just like, we'll take those Final Fantasy buffs and we'll put them under Spider-Man comics. Now she'll think I'm super cool. And this has come close to happening, and it hasn't really been a problem. And you know, I'll get along with this lady. We'll have a fantastic night, and then the next morning, she'll wake up and she'll see my Boba Fett poster I have over my bed, and she'll just be like, "Oh, that's really sweet. I love Star Trek." I'm like, you can get right out of my house, and don't wake my mom up on your way out. All right, guys, that's all I had. I guess nobody else wants to do the open mic? You wanna...
No, I guess not.
Oh,
I'll do it.
you want in?
I'll try something.
All right, I guess you're closing.
We'll do some improv. Why not? So I'm going to do a little thing. This is MAGFest, the Music and Gaming Festival. Who's on the more music side of things? You and only you, right? That's it? All right. So it got to a point when you realize you're a hipster. Now, most people, like, there's a saying of hipsters really don't know they're hipsters, but when you just spend your time asking the question, do I want my 350 bands in all MP3 320 kilobit or FLAC, and if you have no idea what that is, trust me, don't worry about it, you're not a hipster, but and then you're realizing, oh wait, am I an audiophile that cares about cable length? Not just the cable, not just the speaker, but the bit ratio, and then you hear one track, and then you hear it again on the same thing, and then you realize, wait a second, this room's square. I need to change the room so I can listen to music better. Oh, God. And then it doesn't end there. You go to live shows. And then after the show, when people ask, oh, was it a good or bad show? And then you realize, no, the G string was out of tune. No, but the performance was great. The live energy. No, it was just it was horrible. Yeah, no, it was completely the best show ever, but it was completely horrible. All right. Now, going back to changing my room, I did change my room recently. So now I have my computer across my bed, so now I can chill on my bed, but realizing I have this day bed. So I want to have a pillow across so I can easily chill on my bed. Realizing, okay, I want more pillows. I need a body pillow that can go across. That moment where you think, I'm going to buy a body pillow. And then you go online and realize, okay, I want cool. And when you say, yes, I'm going online to search to get what they call a body pillow case. And then you also think of, wait a second, am I ever going to get a girl in here at all if I do this? This is like the point of no return of, if you make this purchase, you know that is the only girl that's ever going to be in your bed and nothing else at all. And so I did. It took a long time to find something that just wasn't boobs, but I did. It was very hard, especially considering most of them are anime I don't know, but there's like 5 games. And so I made this purchase. And it's there. And I've yet to watch a movie on my bed. So that's the only 2 jokes I thought of sitting here. But yeah.
Give it up for everybody you've seen the night. So we got a little bit extra time. And everyone has rejoined me on stage.
Did you want to just do more material?
I was going to do material. I don't know. But thank you guys so much for coming to the Plus 2 Comedy Open Mic. This is something new that we were trying out. And thank you so much for those of you who performed. Thank you so much for coming out and trying it. So it's 11:45, so we're supposed to do like another 15 minutes. I'm going to leave this up to you guys. We do a Plus 2 Comedy Q&A sometimes and that's how we end the show and just take questions, and we can either talk about comedy or we can, answer any nerd debates you have in the back of your mind. Or if you guys want, I could tell the story of when I went to an orgy. Those are your options. Or you can leave. That is a good option too. You can just take off. All right, I'll tell the story real quick and then we'll end the show. Does that sound good? Sound good, guys? All right, so.
That's fine. You tell your story about you.
Yeah.
We'll be around.
We'll just hang out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah,
no.
but Noah didn't invite me.
Noah did not invite Will.
So here's the thing, guys. All right, I'm going to tell this story. I'm giving the people what they want. I went to an orgy, and there's a joke that everyone makes about orgies. It's like, oh, what if I'm the one guy nobody wants to have sex with at the orgy? Turns out there's a worse guy to be at an orgy, and that's the guy who shows up unaware that there's going to be an orgy.
With a 6-pack and Rice Krispie treats.
Yeah, I thought it was just a party. So I showed up for a party, and I guess I missed round 1 because I showed up and everyone's drinking Gatorade and just hanging out. And I showed up and the place is packed, so full of people. And I was like, oh, wow, everyone here is so friendly. I'm hugging everybody that I walk in and meet. Oh, cool. It's cool. It smells weird in here, but whatever. Hey. Nice to meet you. Wow, awesome. And then I ended up going into this one room, and I saw it. And I was like, oh, I'm staying in here for the rest of the night. There's a Super Nintendo Classic in here. Awesome. So I sit down, and I sit next to this guy, and I'm driving everybody away. I sit down next to this guy, and he's playing Mega Man X. And I'm like, yo, you got the Hadouken? He's like, yeah, I got the Hadouken. It's like, you think you can one-shot Sigma? He's like, yeah, I think you can one-shot Sigma. Now, I want to explain something to you guys before I continue. Through the rest of this story, you're going to fear for my safety. So I'm going to spoil the ending right now, all right? This story ends with my fiance running into the room screaming, "Stop! Noah, that man wants to have sex with you." All right, so that's how this is going to end. So I'm sitting next to this guy, and you know what he does? He one-shot Sigma with the Hadouken. So we hug. And it's not like a sexual hug. It's that, hey, we just stopped Sigma type of hug. So we hug, and then he pulls me back, and he's holding me by the shoulders, and he looks deep into my eyes and goes, "So, what do you want to do now?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll tell you what we should do now. Super Punch Out." And I reach down, and I turn on Super Punch Out, and I sit down. I was like, "We're going to play Super Punch Out." And I notice that it's the first time I've ever played like Super Punch Out in years. So I'm like, I don't remember anything. Every time I face a new guy, he puts his arm around me, and he goes, "Listen, Noah, you can do this." And then, now the wheels are starting to go in my brain. I'm like, oh, this guy really believes in me. I have to play the best Super Punch-Out I've ever played. So I'm playing Super Punch-Out, and I'm doing great because this guy believes in me. And I finished the first circuit. I'm like, okay, I'm going to get something to drink. Stay here. He's like, "I'm not going anywhere." I'm like, cool. And I walk away. And I go into the kitchen, and I realize everyone is gone. I was like, this place was full before. Where did everybody go? And I get a water, and then I'm walking by, and then somebody walks past me, and I go, "Hey, where is everybody?" And they go, "They're in the kissing room." And I'm like, oh, that was a weird sentence. In retrospect, I probably should have figured that out. But not me. I'm just like, all right, whatever. And I walk into the other room, and I walk in, and they have turned off Super Punch-Out, and I am crushed. And they have switched to Street Fighter. And I'm like, oh, what's happening? You guys are playing Street Fighter? He's like, yeah, we switched over to Street Fighter. This guy says he's the best in the room. I believe in you. I think you can beat him. And I'm like, oh, okay, I could probably beat him. Are you going to make room for me on the couch? And he goes, no, sit on my lap. I'm like, that's weird. But he's playing as E Honda, and I know all the cancels as Chun-Li. So I sit on this guy's lap, and we play Street Fighter, and I win. And, I won as Chun-Li, and she's all like, yatta. So I'm all like, yatta. And she's all like, yeah. And then my fiance runs in the room and goes, "Noah, stop. That man wants to have sex with you." And I go, "No." And I look at this guy, and he goes, "Yeah." And I go, "Oh." And I get up, and I run away. And I go up to my fiance, and I go, "Why did you know that he wanted to have sex with me?" And she says, "He told me when we walked in." Did you want to share that information with me? And she goes, no. I'm like, why? He's like, because you wouldn't have sat on his lap, and that was great. I was like, oh, that's a really good point. So that's the story of how I went to an orgy.
You're a coward.
Yeah. So that's going to do it for the +2 Comedy Open Mic. Wes Johnson's in here next. He's doing his late night panel. He's going to be talking about voice acting and showing some crazy videos. So if you want to stick around for that, please feel free to do that. We will be back tomorrow. We are judging the Iron Chef competition.
Gamer Iron Chef at 1
Gamer
o'clock.
Iron Chef at 1 o'clock. We are doing another version of Game the Gamer that will work better in this room at 8 o'clock. And then, what's up? We hope it works better. And then we will be doing stand-up comedy again in this room at 11 p.m. You guys are not invited to perform, but of course invited to come and laugh. It'll be a good time. And then we have our brand new game show on Sunday, which is called Geek Out. It is a game of trivia and debate. Guys, thank you so much for coming out to the show. Yeah. That's Laura Prince. That's Will Liam. My name's Noah Houlihan, and together we're +2 Comedy. Thank you guys so much.